Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Chai Academy, or welcome, period, to the Chai Academy. This is Rabbi Sachs, and I will be your teacher, but I don't want it to be frontal teaching. Just prompt your thoughts, and please feel free to chime in. So we've been discussing, this is once again an encapsulated class for today, every day. We've been discussing the concept that God asked for certain things to be made in the Holy Temple. How to make them, the sizes, the shape, and where to place them. And the question we posed 3 classes ago is why? And more importantly, if this was just a temple thing, which is not for all times, why have it in the Bible? Why have it in the Torah? Good afternoon, Aileen. Why have it? And the answer is because each one of these things teach us life lessons. Life lessons. Right? And so we discussed, so far we've discussed the table, what that teaches us. We've discussed the ark, the lessons of the ark, the lessons of the menorah, and today the lesson of the mizbeach, the lesson of the altar. So of course the altar in the Holy Temple was where they used to offer up either animal sacrifices or all organic, by the way. You offer up, different various spices and various flour, and so there were animal sacrifices, and there was also, grain sacrifices, if you will, and different requirements for different types of offerings and for different holidays, etc. Obviously, on Passover they offered up matzah. Not on Passover, they offered up some bread every day. So the question is, what are the lessons of the altar? So I believe the Kabbalah has a fundamental discussion about this, and I believe we should start with this. What do we offer? We offer, once again, an animal, and for different sacrifices, different animals, different price. If a wealthy man will offer something, a poor man will offer something smaller. Right? And so there was a range of different types of sacrifices, and the really poor would offer up the grain. So the Kabbalah says that what we learn from the altar is that we have to sacrifice the animal within us. The animal within us is our ego. The animal within us is our lust, is where we our addictions, our anger. Those are the animals within us, and every other negative trait that a human being may have, and there are many, right? Short-tempered, irritable, impatient, angry. So that is what the Kabbalah says, that you have to sacrifice your animal self, right? God created us. I'm teaching you Kabbalah now, what the Kabbalah says. God created us with a godly soul. He also created us with animal instincts. And when we see something or smell something, or any of our senses, our animal instincts kick in, and much of the time I think it's fine. I'm hungry, I want to eat. Great. I'm hungry and I want to be a glutton, and therefore I'm going to miss my kids' play. That's not great, right? You haven't trained your animal. That there are times, just like you have to train your pet to go outside when necessary, and not just anywhere, poop anywhere. pee anywhere. So too, you have to change. You have to train yourself, offer up that impulse, and contain it, and make sure that it's properly contained. You don't have to get rid of the animal instincts. That is relegated for only super special people who have the gift from birth to be able to rid yourself of animal instincts. No one says you have to get rid of it. You just have to, in essence, be dominant over them. So therefore, all of our animal instincts, right? Eating, drinking, music, and intimacy, and just anything that we have to make sure that it's proper, right? And everything. I always use this example. Being intimate with one's own spouse is probably one of the loftiest mitzvahs. How, right? And it's animalistic, right? It's if you think about it, but it's holy. It's one of the holiest acts. Being intimate with someone else's spouse, and it's the same deal. It's the same animal stuff. Is one of the most degrading and unholy things one can do. So, we control our animal instincts, and man or woman, and we don't have an affair. We remain loyal to our spouse. Right? If we're an alcoholic, so we train our animal instincts to say, I'm not going to have a drink. I'm just not going to have. And you don't have it in the house, and you don't go into a bar, and you stay away from a bar at the wedding, and that's curbing one's animal instinct. Harder than that, by the way, is much harder. Disorder would be anorexia, because bar, at least you stay away from. Anorexia is much harder to control. That animal push to not eat because of the body dysmorphia, and afraid of gaining weight. So it takes tremendous strength to recover from anorexia. Tremendous. So that's the first idea. Now, there's different types of animals. There are some people whose animal instincts are so gross that would be similar to a larger animal. There are others, it's more subtle. It's more of a subtle thing. Some people actually wouldn't even know, that guy doesn't have an ego, that woman doesn't have an ego, and they do. It's a small, silent voice, but it's really an incredible ego brewing within them. But the one that it's apparent and acts in a very inappropriate manner, that would be a bigger animal. The fellow who's wise enough to contain his flaw, albeit still have it, that's a smaller animal. The best thing is to contain it, just completely curb it, not get rid of it. But whenever it rears its ugly head, you say, goodbye, enough. So there's different animals. There's some we don't know the reward for mitzvahs. We don't know the punishment. I'm talking about heavenly stuff. We don't know for the reward or punishment for anything that we do. We don't know. We can posit that whatever's in the Decalogue is more important than what's not in the Decalogue. But is it? We don't know. We don't know. We're not given that knowledge. Torah does give certain physical punishments, and maybe we can glean from there. But maybe hypothesis. So we just don't know. But the idea is that you need to. And we don't know which sin is a bigger sin, right? We just don't know. So therefore, we just have to try and do our best to curb ourselves as much as possible. So that's I think the first lesson. The second lesson, I believe, that should be taught is the concept of sacrifice. So we know there's this concept called Mesiras Nefesh, self-sacrifice. Spanish Inquisition is a perfect example. You didn't get out in 1492, during the Spanish Inquisition, you were given a chance to get out, convert, or die. And he said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving my wealth. I'm not leaving my family who don't want to leave. I'm not leaving. I'm going to figure this out, by the diplomatic channels, or we're going to, bear arms. I don't know if Spain has a Second Amendment. I have no idea. But so we're not going to. We're not going to leave. Anyway, they didn't leave. The deadline passed. Now, these people are dragged in front of the council. And they say, will you accept Christianity? I mean, you accept whatever, bowing to something other than God, or die. So the consummate self-sacrifice is when you say, I will not worship idols. I will not, even quasi-idols. Christianity is not, it's nothing. It's very different from really idol worship. But I will not do that. I only bow to God. Remember, we had classes on this. I won't kill anybody, and I won't be intimate by force with anybody. I'd rather die. So those are the three that a person should give up their life for. And we discussed this at length in another section of the Chai Academy. And you can, not too long ago actually, you can search it up at thechaicenter.com/academy. So so that is the literal meaning of self-sacrifice, giving up my life. But as the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said, self-sacrifice doesn't have to be as weighted, as extreme. Self-sacrifice is you tell yourself, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. We spoke of, aforementioned stuff. No, I'm not going to have an affair. But it's very tempting. But he or she is flirting, and I have the opportunity, and we're in the same hotel, and our spouses are out of town, and no. So that is, you're giving up something. I mean, you're doing the right thing. I mean, we're not going to applaud you for doing the right thing, but that is called self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice, the most simple example is to go on a diet. And you actually look at something, and you say, no, I have to wait for Shabbos. I have to wait for Sabbath. I'm not going to eat it now. I'm not. That's another idea of self-sacrifice. Now, is that a mitzvah? Is dieting a mitzvah? I guess if you're not healthy, it's a mitzvah to be healthy. I knew this rabbi who used to smoke every day, multiple cigarettes a day. But when it came Passover, he stopped for those 8 days. And then he started as soon as Passover was over. He didn't want to smoke on Passover. Doesn't know if there's any chametz in it, anything leaven. Just didn't know, so therefore he didn't smoke. You know how hard that must have been? It must have been insanely hard. But he was in control. Self-sacrifice could be where your employee does something that was so bad, but not on purpose, and you're about to really let them have it and degrade them, and you shut up, and rather you use it as a teaching moment. Self-sacrifice, they tell a story in the times of, I think, the Baal Shem Tov, is that a fellow saved up all his money to buy the nicest etrog, the nicest citron for the Jewish holiday. The nicest one in town, but he suffered because instead of buying as much food as he wanted, he always put 10% away for charity and 10% away for the etrog. Came after a full year of savings, he bought the etrog, and he comes back home, and he goes to lay down, and his wife sees a nice looking lemon, and she cuts it up and puts it in the salad. So when he comes out from his sleep, he goes, where's my etrog? She goes, what? It was sitting right there. So she said, I used it in the salad. And the story is that he didn't get angry. He didn't yell and scream and shout and stomp his feet and pull his hair out and threaten. He just said, oh, okay. And I believe as the Baal Shem Tov said about him, is that he acquired his heavenly reward at that very moment. The fact that he spent a year raising that money, saving that money, and then it was gone within minutes, and he did not degrade her. He did not raise his voice. He did not flee the marriage. He says he because of his self-sacrifice, his self-control. So now, I believe it's our duty to teach our kids self-sacrifice. A kid to have it all is no good. Just no good. If your kid has everything they ask for and they do not hear the word no, eventually they'll tell you no. You can't coddle a kid. You can't spoil a kid. You have to love the kid no matter what. And I used this example in the past, is that your kid becomes 16 years of age, and you're a man, a woman, a person of means, and your kid's got his driver's license. Do not reward the kid with a new car. Don't. That's spoiling. You say to the kid, I can buy you a used car. If you want a new car, which is going to be $30,000, you have to put up 33% from your newspaper delivery, from your babysitting, from your tutoring, whatever it may be. Because that teaches the kid not to be spoiled. So if you shouldn't overspend on them, and they have to hear the value of no. And they have to hear, you too, me too, have to know that you got to save. Right? It's so tempting not to save for a rainy day or for old age. Because if you don't save, you could buy this, that, and the other. If you don't save, you can go to Aruba 3 times a year. But you got to learn the concept of you have to sacrifice in order to be responsible. So once again, self-sacrifice can be the gamut, and you can take it as you will. You can it's something for each and every person to know what struggles they have, what weaknesses they have, or how they can improve, and use this method of, I'm going to overcome this struggle because I'm simply not going to give in to this struggle. So that's another lesson. And I think another lesson is the altar. The fire was in the center. The fire was in the center of the altar. Right? Our passion, you must have passion. You have to have passion for God, you have to have passion for your spouse, you have to have passion for work, you have to have passion for life. And the passion has to come from within and from the center within. Right? It can't be a haphazard type of passion. And the only way you'll be able to get through life and be able to self-sacrifice and be able to do the nice things and to be able to stay married and enjoy your kids is you have to have passion. Keep the passion and keep it strong. Keep the fire burning. In fact, there's 613 biblical commands, and Maimonides codifies them and he counts them. There's 248 positives you should do, and there's 365 negatives you should not do. Right? 2 of them, there's 1 positive, 1 negative. It says one of them is Eish Tamid. A fire has to burn constantly on the altar. So in the Holy Temple, they made sure there was enough wood, and if it was about to run out, they brought more wood. And the fire, they never let the fire be extinguished, burn out. Right? So that's a positive commandment, which teaches us we have to make sure that our fire um, doesn't burn out. Right? If the light goes out, it's very hard to remain married. So what do? You have to do everything you can, just like you put wood on the altar. You have to fan the flames of romance. Love for one's children, love for one's this, that, and the other. So that is keep the fire burning, keep it going, and it's a biblical mitzvah because it's so important. The other one is a negative one. Do not extinguish a fire. So the question is, why is there both? I mean, there's one positive, one negative. God could have just, we have to listen anyway, so why both? Because the answer is there's two separate things. Two totally separate things. One is, you got to keep the fire burning. You got to keep the fire burning. And the other one is, do not be self-loathing, self-effacing. Do not be, claim victimhood, and do not consciously, try subconsciously to get yourself into a state of where you're spiraling downwards and you're on this slide to melancholy and depression. Do not allow it. Because if the fire goes out, or if you extinguish the fire, right, you're going to be in bad spirits. You're going to be in bad shape. So one of them is keep the passion going for different things. The other one is make sure that you live life. And stay busy, stay occupied. Do not let thoughts, negative thoughts that will torture you, occupy your mind. So the great question is, how do you do that? Thoughts, subconscious thoughts. Conscious thoughts you can perhaps control. Subconscious thoughts, how do you not have subconscious thoughts? So I bring you back to the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah, and by the way, I believe this is medical theory as well, or psychotherapy or psychological, is that you have to be occupied. You have to be busy. If you're busy, and if that means work, that means family, that means hobby, that means whatever, helping, assisting, volunteering, if you stay busy and your cup is full, then you think of a cup full of sand, a cup at the beach. At a certain point, you can't put any more sand in it, right? It's just gonna go over. Or water, or Coke, or Scotch, right? Or Starbucks coffee, eggnog. At a certain point, you cannot fill it, right? It's too full. Keep your cup full. Right? If a person has a busy day in, day out, then you'll sleep well at night. For the most part, I don't sleep well at night. I have incredible insomnia, so maybe I should practice what I preach. But the insomnia is I got to be the seventh wonder of the world, by the way, with the insomnia that I have lately. How does he survive? So so stay busy. You also will look forward to the weekend. This is the time I'm not running here, I'm not running there, I'm not doing spreadsheets, I'm not running from one sales call to another, or I'm not arguing in court or whatever, or I'm not inserting an IV. You look forward to some downtime. But if you have downtime every single day, then the fire is going to go out. And it's a biblical command. Do not let the fire go out. So find something. Push yourself to make sure the fire doesn't go out, and stay busy. Stay busy. Volunteer. Right? I'm looking for 100 fundraisers to help the Chai Center. So we need help. We want to build a special needs home, special needs house, a friendship house for our special needs, but it's going to take a couple, it's going to take $1 million for sure. So on 100 fundraisers, get cracking, and stay busy, and we'll get this goal. We'll get this goal done. Stay busy, and don't let the fire go out. So these are some of the lessons of the Ark. I think one other lesson of the Ark is the Ark, unlike the menorah, did not have steps. The Ark was a ramp. Right? Steps. Some people struggle with steps. If you're handicapped, steps are an issue. If you're a child and there's this big step, you may not be able to do it. If you think of the buses in New York City, they go lower to allow somebody because they're high. Right? Steps are a problem. A ramp, any building these days, any commercial building these days, must have a handicap access ramp. And if it's 2 stories, it must have an elevator. And if it's 3 stories, it's got to have an elevator that goes to all 3 floors, with minimal exceptions. A ramp is easier to navigate than steps. To light up something, to become, to change your way. That's what the cleaning of the menorah is, once again. To change a person, to change your way completely is steps. It's not so easy. But to get yourself to a point where you can give up a bad vice, use the ramp. Small steps up, and you'll get there. To climb the steps is sometimes climbing a mountain. Depends how high the step is. But and that is completely change. That's one step at a time, as they say. A ramp to just curb, don't change, just fight it. That's a ramp. So somebody writes here, Lenny writes, retirement 1 Saturday and 6 Sundays. I'm not sure. Retirement 1 Saturday and 6. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, you can't be, the Lubavitcher Rebbe always said, by the way, that a person should never fully retire. For this reason. Because an idle mind, idle thoughts, leads to melancholy, leads to depression, leads to doing things, gets you in trouble, physical trouble, mental trouble, emotional trouble, and emotional trouble, etc. So Lubavitcher Rebbe never, you understand, you got to slow down, but never fully retire. Make sure you have something to do each day, look forward to, a project to so if you're an accountant, instead of working, you have 150 clients, have 50 clients. So get it, but have the 50 clients. Keep yourself sharp, and that's why, by the way, there is many kollels, houses of study for seniors. And what it does is you study the Talmud, which keeps you sharp. You study another concept, listen to a class, keeps you sharp. Don't fully retire. That's a mistake. So this has been a class on the altar. If you enjoyed it, please share it with others. If you haven't enjoyed it, then I guess delete it. But other classes could be found at thechaycenter.com/academy, Spotify.com Chai Academy, YouTube.com Chai Academy. Please share, and share. I guess that's what the Chai Academy is for. It's a class, yeah. Hopefully keeps you occupied. All right. God bless. Be well, and we'll see you again.